If you truly knew that you could do anything and you couldn't fail, what actions would you take today that are different from the ones you're currently taking?
Business owners need to hear what's really stopping people from taking the next level to build their dream life is they are scared to be seen failing.
This plays out in so many ways. So there's so many things you're not doing because you have a fear of being seen to look stupid, or you have a fear of being seen to not know what you're doing. And the minute that you remove that blanket and you actually just take the necessary and required actions, success happens very, very quickly.
Welcome to the Success School podcast. We're on episode 99, so close to the big 100. We're on a special series of episodes we're calling the unfiltered opinions that we have. Super spicy. Make sure you guys tune in this week, next week, and the week after. Our 99, 100, and 101 are going to be amazing. Steph, how are you feeling?
I love a spicy episode, so I'm excited for all the spiciness that's coming up in the next couple of episodes.
How do you feel hijacking my podcast? The Success School podcast was originally a solo job.
Are we back here again?
It was actually going much better. No, I'm kidding.
It's a funny story because when Tim and I first started to go into podcasting all together, I actually had a very successful podcast previously. Yeah. And I was nervous
Sure you did.
I was like, am I going to go over to this
small
thing over here when I've got
much
this
more fun
magical podcast that I've been doing?
We're talking about like babe and feelings and and
it was all very it was very different. And now we're 100 episodes. We're at I don't know the stats, many downloads, lots of you listening, lots of subscribers, and I feel very grateful. I'm really glad we made the move. Podcasting together is way more fun than doing it solo.
For sure.
So
I wish we tracked stats properly. We've changed podcasting platforms like 9 times, so we lose all our stats every time.
That doesn't sound like us.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like us. So, personal updates. I will go first.
Okay.
Word on the street is my new name is Bobcat Boy. And
BOI?
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys some context. The space for the ranch had to clear 10,000 square meters, so we hired a bobcat with, they call it like a forestry mulcher on the front. Funny story, actually. I'm a little bit overzealous with everything I do. So it's going really fast, and I had the machine cranked up, and I actually flipped the bobcat, came out of the seat and face planted in the kind of window thing. And it was so flipped over that I couldn't move myself back in the chair. So I kind of was like freaking out a little bit. I was like, shit, I'm going to like get splattered here and get destroyed by this forestry mulcher and get obviously murdered by the machine. And I eventually got my hand over the 2 joysticks and I pushed one forward and then it just got lower and I was like literally like face on the dirt, like the screen was on the dirt. And then I pushed the other way and I eventually used the bobcat anchor arm thing to get myself back. And then it flew back, and then I almost tipped it backwards because there was so much momentum on the way back. And at that point, I ripped out, basically like cracked the windscreen of this thing, and then ripped the light off the top of it.
Yes.
And the siren. Anyway, I'm Bobcat Boy because I'm highly experienced and survived a bobcat.
This bobcat was getting delivered, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that Tim is not supposed to handle this piece of machinery, but here we are.
Handled.
You survived.
Yeah,
you got
the guy
done?
messaged me and he said, "Thanks for giving it back to us in such great
condition." Jesus,
Like, okay,
that
cool.
thing's been through seen some days.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, what's up with you?
Well, I don't know if I look refreshed. I have been
amazing.
Yeah,
You're so beautiful.
Thank you, baby. I have been feeling so refreshed lately, and there's a funny story here. The reason I'm feeling refreshed is because I've been wearing my blue blocks at night. So these are the orange tinted glasses that you can buy online. I don't know, blueblocks.com, or they've changed owners like 17 times as well. Who knows what they're called at this point? Not an ad, but hilarious story is that I've had about 4 pairs of these over the last 4 years, and because I sleep well. So if you check out my scores on Aura or 8 Sleep or Whoop or really anywhere, my sleep scores are very high. I'm a very good sleeper. Can sleep anywhere. It's a gift. So I always told Tim, I don't need to wear these blue blocks. Tim wears them every night religiously. But the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that when I wake up in the morning, I've had a bit of a headache, which is unusual for me because I sleep so goddamn well. And I realized that I was grinding my teeth at night. And so there was obviously some subconscious stress that was going on. And I started wearing my blue blocks. And all of a sudden, what do you know? Not grinding my teeth, sleeping even better, feel deeper, feel more relaxed, feel more refreshed. It's been amazing.
Love that. You look amazing as well.
Thank you. But surprising because like you've been telling me for years. That
6
I need to wear
years
them.
I've been wearing blue blocks. I've been telling Steph every night I wear these things. I take them everywhere. I take them on the toilet. I take them in the shower.
Yeah.
I wear them when I'm scratching my dogs. Like
you wear
literally.
them on planes, on buses. It literally doesn't, out for dinner, it doesn't matter. If we are out in the evening or if it is evening, you are wearing blue blocks.
Yeah, I take them out to social events.
Yes,
yeah,
you do.
People are like, you're a fucking weirdo. All right, guys. So if you get some value from today's episode, I did say these are going to be unfiltered opinions. It's going to be a little off the cuff. It's going to be a bit rough. We're going to say some stuff. We're going to be a bit crass. We mean no offense by that.
Nothing
I just
unusual.
wanted to warn you. But if you get some value from it, obviously subscribe to the show and tell a friend. So we're talking about 5 truths that business owners need to hear. So we're going to do a little intro on each preamble, then we're going to discuss it, then we'll go to the next one. Steph, do you want to kick us off? What's the first uncomfortable truth?
Before we kick off, why do you think people need to hear these truths?
Because most of the coaching advice out there is smoke and mirrors and bullshit. So we wanted to give the truth in our opinion. You guys can reflect on that. You can hold a mirror up to yourself and ask yourself, is that you? Is this me? But that's the kind of whole goal that I wanted to get out of this episode.
So the first one is the truth about why more business owners aren't successful. Now, for the unit of measurement for success here, I have personally defined this as money. Now, the reason I've defined it is because that's how most entrepreneurs measure and track success or the growth of a business is through revenue and profit. To be clear, that's not the only metric for success, but it is the one that we are using for the purpose of this conversation today. So I found some statistics online that I thought were very interesting. So only 4% of businesses ever make it past $1 million per year.
That's crazy.
4%.
Yeah.
Of all the businesses in all of the world, only 4% make it. And only 1% of the population are millionaires, despite 76% of millennial and Gen Z business owners actually wanting to be millionaires. So people want to be millionaires, but only 1% of people actually make it, which is crazy. So here's the reason why most people aren't successful in business is because they're caught up doing busy work, not growth work. Elaborate.
Yeah, so we have the pleasure of looking under the hood of a lot of people's businesses and what they do and they don't do. And 80 to 85 to 90% of what you should be doing every single day is learning how to sell your product better and marketing your product. And that's it. Okay. And then the other 10% is iteration and making your product better. And I think most of the time people are like worrying about getting a new website. What does my branding look like? Getting another photo shoot for the 100th time, changing my fonts, building my Canva, doing some kind of really long proposal to some council or something for some product that no one's ever going to buy or nothing's ever going to sell. And I think we get so far away from actually doing the things that we need to do every single day. It's really simple shit like reaching out to 10 people, sending an email, making social media content, building long form, having sales calls, like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think people get really busy in delivery because they like to feel like they're validating their price point to their clients. And so they get really caught up in the busy work, but they don't actually do the strategic work, which means they don't grow their business. And they spend more time learning than executing. We see this a lot. People think they need to learn more when actually you learn by doing. And so if you just did more, then you would learn way faster, first and foremost. And second of all, it doesn't even matter if you make good noise. Like initially, if you make a lot of noise, you're going to rustle up a heap of vibration. You're going to attract a lot of opportunities to you, and it's going to be really easy for you to grow your business. But most people are just sitting there stagnant, overthinking, underperforming, trying to learn more and cram more into their mind, but not taking any action. So you never really learn.
Yeah, a client of ours messaged us the other day and she said, hey, I'm writing a new landing page. I just want to know, is there any courses you recommend for writing a landing page? And I thought, interesting, because probably 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, let's fucking do a course to write a landing page. But now I'm like, why don't you just get a landing page written? And then we just skip that because it's not her constraint. It wasn't her constraint. She just needed a good landing page. So get an 80% good enough landing page from AI and then get a copywriter just to make some tweaks on it. I thought that would be the simple solution. It'll be complete in one day. You don't have to do a whole course and learn all this new shit. It was super fascinating for me. The second uncomfortable truth that business owners need to hear, and we're going to be talking about what's really stopping people from taking the next level to build their dream life.
Very sexy. What is stopping them?
The first part of this is they are scared to be seen failing, which is a very interesting mindset. Can you elaborate on why people are scared to be seen failing?
This plays out in so many ways. So you might not think that this is your biggest fear, but if you are too scared to advertise your products or services, tell people the price, if you're too scared to create social media content, to run ads, all of that deep down, when you remove all of its bells and whistles, is a fear of failure. Or it could be a fear of success, but more often than not, it's a fear of failure. And what that means is that you deep down are worried that it's not going to go well, or that it won't work, or that you're wasting your time, or that people are going to see you failing. And that belief system is going to be the number one thing that holds most entrepreneurs back. Because one, if you knew that you couldn't fail, what would you do? And if you truly honestly sat with yourself right now and I asked you, the listener who's listening right now in your ears, if you truly knew that you could do anything and you couldn't fail, what actions would you take today that are different from the ones you're currently taking? Because there's so many things you're not doing because you have a fear of being seen to look stupid, or you have a fear of being seen to not know what you're doing. And the minute that you remove that blanket and you actually just take the necessary and required actions, success happens very, very quickly.
The second part to this is too many ideas, no clear plan, no prioritization, and they freeze instead of move. This is a super common one in entrepreneurship. We have this all the time as people, they'll come to calls and they'll be like, hey, I got this idea and I got this idea and I got this idea and I got this idea. And I'm like, holy shit, I need like a checklist just to note all the ideas here. How about we just move on one? And then, they never really pick one because they're scared that one isn't going to work, and then they invest all this time. So then the catch-22 here is they never commit the time because they're scared it's going to fail, but then they never get anywhere because they never commit the time. And Dan, actually my best friend Dan, he's a bit of an inventor. And he invents stuff. He has all these ideas in architect, super creative. And he kept coming to me with these ideas. And I was like, look, bro, I don't care what you do. I'll give you money to support it and build this business. Just pick one and do it. So then he did, and he built this fencing product. He went to China, got it sourced, got it quoted up, got it measured, and actually took the steps. Therefore, he got the learning from what he was doing. He didn't just talk about inventing more products. He actually did it, and he took the next steps. And now they're looking to get it built from China and brought to Australia, and then they're going to have this whole product. But if he was always just thinking about the next idea and actually talking about the next idea, he was going to be like a wannabe entrepreneur, not an actual entrepreneur that takes action.
And I think it masquerades as perfectionism, right?
Yep.
Like people think they're hoping for the perfect idea. Which one's the one that's going to make me rich? Versus if you just did all 5 of the ideas that you thought and started one of them, found out within 6 to 7 weeks to 10 weeks to, half 6 months, whether it was good or not. And then, okay, well, I've learned all the lessons from that. The next idea is going to be even better because I know so much more about it. You would just get where you wanted to go so much faster. The third part on not taking the next step to build their dream life is around money mindset. This is huge. Obviously, I'm someone who's suffered with this very badly, but most people in the small business community are undercharging, over-delivering, and they think that making money feels greedy or unsafe. We have quite a few clients in the allied health space, and they're like, oh, I feel terrible marketing or advertising my products. I feel bad asking for money. Guys, this is business. Asking for money is like literally the number one job that you have. Learning to feel comfortable and safe with earning money is your number one responsibility as an entrepreneur, because you are not going to be able to change your life. You are not going to be able to change other people's lives unless you earn an income. So learning to get comfortable and moving around your money mindset stuff is absolutely paramount to growing your business.
All right, guys. Topic 3, the truth about the coaching industry. And this is a little spicy. I'm like, apologies if I offend anyone. This is not what is meant to happen here. Steph, you kick us off.
Tim doesn't want to offend anyone, but he's pissed.
Yeah.
He's frustrated by the industry.
Fucking hate our industry.
We talk about it, I would say, on a almost daily basis. It's frustrating, the shit that we see. But the truth about the coaching industry is that most business coaches haven't had a real business. And when we say this is a blanket statement, this is not, if you're a business coach, this is not directed at you, but we see so many great marketers, so many people who are exceptional at marketing, exceptional at sales, scaling businesses that are unethical, unsustainable, and that end up letting people down on the back end. And that's because they've never really built something real. When we talk about building something real, we're talking about a real business with real overheads and
real stuff,
and not just saying, hey, I'm really good at marketing. And if that's the case, if you're a really good marketer and you teach marketing, that makes sense.
Just be a marketing coach.
That's fine. Be a marketing coach. But a lot of business coaches are really good at marketing, and then they say that they're business coaches, and they're not teaching what they actually do. They're just teaching random strategies they've got off the internet. And it's heartbreaking to see, because the amount of people who come to us with business coaching advice from other programs that has left them burned and spurned and unhelped, and even oftentimes in way worse positions, it just breaks our heart. Yeah. So it's frustrating.
Our industry, to put it bluntly, is just fucked. It really is. It's fucked.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. You guys might know this person. I'm not going to name them, but send me a message and I'll send you their name, because one of these stories really fucking pissed me off. They were one of these Insta-famous organic marketers, and they preach that their method gets you a 7-figure business on organic. And there's actually a couple of people I can think of that have done this little move. And they say you buy the method, money back guarantee, 100% works. And if it doesn't work for you, I'll 100% refund you. And obviously no one gets results, because they're not really revealing what the actual method is. And the actual method of how a lot of these organic marketers get results is they are in engagement pods. So they'll basically put their content in a group of 60, 80 people. They will comment on it, and then it'll hack the algorithm, and then it will go up from there. They're also doing like comment replies, like fake comment replies. So they'll copy and paste a post, put it in AI, say comment back to this, and then that'll obviously hack the algorithm as well. They do that on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, that kind of stuff. So they are two common methods on how people grow organically, but they sell this whole organic system.
They don't teach it. That's the problem. Like, they're not teaching that strategy. They're teaching something completely different. The strategies don't work. People don't get their money back. They get burned. They come to us and they're like, I don't know, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And the amount of businesses owners and business coaches that we've seen shut down their businesses and say that it's because it was no longer aligned, when actually they're like getting sued or there's a mass court action against them. It's just wild what's going on out there. It's heartbreaking. It really freaking annoys us, because there are coaches like us and some of our friends who really genuinely want to coach people, really genuinely care, and it hurts, it sucks.
Yeah, it kills the industry. We get people all the time come on sales calls with us and they're like, oh, just all business coaches are fuckheads. And I'm like, I get that. Like 99% of them are, but like it just kind of kills it for everyone else. And we've had like other stories, like we know blatantly, like I could probably count on both my hands the amount of people that lie about how much money they make. And they're like, hey, I'm a 7-figure X. And like, we know they haven't made 7 figures. We've seen the P&Ls of these people, and then they're teaching.
What have you got to teach? You haven't done it. It's just, it's really heartbreaking, because business coaches charge a lot of money because they have the capacity to help you earn a lot of money. But our industry really pisses us off, and I wish we weren't part of it, but we are. And so we try our best just to make the best of what we've got.
Yeah. Let's get into number 4. So not everyone should scale. You need to know what you want in business, because scale does cause complexity and issues in your business. And then every level is a new devil. The work never runs out. The work never stops. The bigger you get, the more problems you have. There's heaps of other stuff. So Steph, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, not everyone should scale. And I think that really what that comes down to is that bigger isn't always better. Look, I'm to and fro on this topic at the moment, because it's true, and it really is true. I literally had a conversation today with one of our clients. Her name is Steph. She has a marketing agency, and she was like, we can't take on any more work until we hire somebody, but we also don't have enough work to hire somebody. So we're in this catch-22. And I said to her, I was like, before you even consider hiring somebody, you need to look at the finances. So if you hire them, is there actually enough margin in what you currently charge to be able to pay tax, BAS, payroll tax, super, for them to take annual leave, for all of those things to be covered for you to hire this person? She was like, oh, I don't even know. And I was like, because if you don't get your numbers right, you'll just add more people and take on more clients, but you'll earn no more money, because it's going to be all in, all out. And I've made that mistake so many times. I've literally made that mistake in every business until this business. And it's really hard, because you work so much more for nothing extra. And unless you have an exit plan, which most people don't, it's all for nothing in the end. And eventually you end up having to do things differently.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. A lot of people hit like a revenue ceiling in their business, and they're like, what am I not doing? And a lot of the times it's not what they're not doing, it's who they don't have on the team. And scale to a degree is about bodies. And bodies following SOPs and processes and KPIs and systems that work. If you don't have bodies, a lot of the time it's very hard to scale and earn more money. And I'm not trying to deter anyone, but scale and growing a 7-figure business and 8 figures, and people always look at us and they're like, I want that business and I want to make that much money. I'm like, do you want the responsibility that comes with it as well? And do you know what actually goes on behind the scenes? Because they look at us and they say, you guys do 5 group calls a week. Must be epic. Like, how good's the lifestyle?
Yeah, they coach 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Bro, we coach in school 2 hours a day. We do 5 calls a week. We're like full-time marketers, salespeople. Like, we work like 50 hours a week.
We manage teams. We are constantly optimizing, we're constantly learning. And we're the kind of people who always want to grow. So, we don't settle and just chill and take our call and then sit on the couch all bloody day. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody over $1 million that does. Yeah. I really don't.
So I'll give you like a hypothetical example here and we'll just work through it. So like, let's say you're sending 5 emails a week, you're doing 5 social media posts, you're running ads, you're getting leads, you're servicing clients. It's a shitload of stuff to do for one person. And then you got to do that religiously 52 weeks a year forever. And then you don't want to add people to it because maybe your margins can't afford it, or you don't want to, or you don't want to manage people, whatever it is. It's very hard to scale from there. Like, what's the next level? Like, you're doing maximal amounts of work. Like, where does it go?
And I think that the point is the only way to get freedom in your business, guys, is to have people. Yep. That's it. Because if it relies on you, it's not freedom. I mean, unless you have another source of income or you're earning enough income that you can afford to take time off whenever you want. I don't really understand a business that would work that way, because the time off that you usually need isn't usually time that you want to plan. So yeah, we all want holidays and we can all take breaks and that's amazing. But what about when you have a car accident and, you've got whiplash or your dog passes away, someone in your family gets incredibly sick and you just can't physically show up for work for 6 weeks? If there's no one there to run the business, that's not freedom. That's entrapment. That's enslavement. So I think one thing that people confuse, they think that team equals pressure, team equals freedom. But in order to get the team right and to get the SOPs in place, it's a bit of work and it's a huge learning curve.
Caveat on that, team has to be good.
Yeah, very good.
So if you've got bad team and you're constantly babysitting your team, you're going to have a bad time. So the team have to be good.
The last thing I would just add to number 4 is that not everyone wants that. And that's also so fine. So if you're the kind of person that's listening here and you're happy earning like 10, 15, 20K a month, and if you don't earn some months, that's cool because you have a dual income with your partner and you just don't really need the cash and you live a really manageable lifestyle, then that's awesome. Like, feel free to not need team. Feel free to do it your way completely. But I think a lot of people want the growth without the teams. Eventually, you're going to need support. One of our mentor said to us once, "Oh, well, how long is that going to last? How long are you really going to want to do all of the marketing and all of the sales?" And I remember thinking like, "Oh, I could do this forever." And I reckon within 6 months, I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore on my own. So yeah, it will come. And usually you want to hire way before then.
Last point to add on that is just don't compare yourself to someone that has a different business as well. So it's really easy to compare yourself to someone that has 10 team members and they're doing marketing, sales and all that stuff on their behalf. And you're like, why am I not there? It's because you're not there.
Yeah, absolutely. The last one, success is actually really boring behind the scenes.
Yeah. If you guys would see our life and what we do in business, you'd be like, that fucking sucks. That is so boring. Like literally the same routine every day. Like you get up, go to the gym. This might be a good routine for you guys, but get up, go to the gym, come back, reply to inner circle clients, reply to school. That takes me a couple of hours. Then I start marketing. Then I manage the team. Then I build projects. Then I do the same fucking thing every single day, 7 days a week.
3 o'clock, we walk the dogs. Then we cook dinner. Then we eat dinner. Then, like, it's the same routine.
Yeah. Same routine for years.
Yeah.
So we don't look for exciting stuff in our business or highlights, or we don't try to get meaning from that because it is just a business. Of course, we enjoy what we do. We love coaching. We love helping our clients. We love all that stuff. But the work is the work. And when you look at the work as not being work and you're trying to find meaning and enjoyment, and every single part of business should be exciting, and I shouldn't have to DM people because that's boring and I don't want to do that, or I shouldn't have to call the fucking leads because I don't want to, but that's just a part of the job and that is business, and success and creating success is boring.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs quit at this phase.
Yeah.
Because I think it's actually around the 4 to 5 year mark, to be honest. I think that's when it really starts to happen, is that you start to lose the excitement of the wins. The wins are no longer as fun as they used to be. So like signing a new client is cool because we get to help somebody and we get to impact somebody, but it's definitely not what it was when we signed our first client, or our first person into a program. And so anything you experience a lot of becomes more normalized, right? Same with the lows. The good news is the lows become more normalized. Now when I have to fire a team member, I'm like, oh, we've done this before. So this is not an emotional thing. I don't have to be weird about this. And so the highs don't get as high, the lows don't get as low, and everything kind of becomes a bit stagnant. And then that's when people tend to quit. Yep. That's when people will go, hey, I'm just not loving it as much as I used to. I just don't know if this is the right model for me. I just feel like I need to get lit up and excited again about my business. So I'm just going to shut this version of it down and do something completely different, which is like the opposite of what you need to do in that exact moment. What that actually means is that you need to actually go and find something that you love to do outside of business that gives you excitement. Tim and I, we don't seek excitement in business. We seek excitement in our lives, which is why we travel so much, because we love to get out and adventure is one of our top values. But we are going on a date night tonight. Like, we actively try to do more in our days together because we're trying to create that excitement in our lives and not in our business. And if you can sustain business being a little bit boring, you are going to generate more money, more income, more freedom, and more impact in your business than ever before.
Only thing to add on that is one of our close friends is shutting a wing of their business down this week because it's hard, because it's getting hard. And that's just what happens with business, guys. It never gets easy. And that's the honest truth here. It never gets easy, regardless of what level. You might think once you get to 7 figures or multi-7 or 777 or whatever the 7 multiple is that you guys get to, it's just hard, all the time. There is no level of this that's easier. It is way more fun with more money, I must say, but it never gets easy. So if you're thinking that the dream of 40, 50, 60, 80K months, something's going to get easy, it isn't. The problems just get bigger and there's more on the line.
Yeah, but it's hard in all directions.
Yeah.
Right? You could stay in a day job guess how hard that's going to be? That's going to be fucking hard for the next 50 years. So I think, it's hard in all directions, guys. If you're looking for easy is created internally, just like happiness is created internally. Anything that you are any emotion that you are trying to create is created by you. Business feels hard sometimes and monotonous and boring. And that means that you probably need to go and do a little bit more in your life on those weeks where it's particularly hard and where it's particularly tricky. But business is the ultimate self-development tool, which means you are always going to be learning, which means you're always realizing you're shit at things, which means you are always stretched and uncomfortable. And that's just part of the gig.
All right, guys, we're going to get into our listener questions today. A little bit of spice on this one as well. Hopefully we can drop some more spice on the replies. I kind of like this sassy undertone on this.
I feel like my microphone's on fire.
Yeah, it is right now. Also that outfit. Question is from Jess. How do I know if I'm wasting my time with a coach who isn't helping me?
Oh, God, I have so much I don't know. Look, there's two things. You're either a model student or you're not.
You're a shit client or you're not.
You're either a model student or you're not. Yeah. And so if you're a model student, if you are genuinely showing up and they're giving you advice and you're doing it exactly the way that they say and you're implementing it all and you're getting feedback from them and they're saying it's really good and you've done that for a sustained period of time, like 60 to 90 days, and it's not working, then I guarantee you it's the coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're the kind of person who's watching the modules and doing nothing, or even worse, showing up to the calls, not watching the modules, not taking the advice that's on the calls, and you're telling yourself that you're interacting in this program, but you don't want to take their advice, you're saying that you don't want to do those things because it's not aligned with your business or whatever, then one, you should have done your research on what kind of strategies they teach before you go into the program to make sure it's more aligned if that's what is important to you. But two, you can't get results from actions you don't take. It is so important that when somebody gives you advice or you watch a module, you learn something, that you actually put it into action.
Yeah, 100% agree. And kind of gets into a lot of people with coaches, they get into a bit of a hostage situation with their coach where they're interesting. They like them as a person, so they just stay with them even though their business isn't progressing or they're not learning or they're not growing or they're not getting challenged. This happens for years, especially in the really close proximity stuff, like the one-on-one stuff. It gets into I'm not going to leave them because I'm going to offend them and I don't want to ruin the relationship and all this other bullshit. We hear this all the time.
Literally today.
Yeah,
literally
people come on our sales calls and they're like, hey, I've been with this coach for 6 years, but I'm not really getting anywhere, but I don't want to leave them, so I'm not going to join you guys. And we're like, oh, what the fuck? That's
someone just told me today that they weren't getting results with their coach for the last 12 months, but they've just signed for another 6 months because they didn't want to let her down. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right, guys, we're going to get into a bit of a recap. 5 truths that we wish more people said out loud. Most business owners stay broke because they're busy and not strategic. They're actually not doing anything that moves the needle and they just think they're busier than they are. Number 2, fear, overwhelm, and money mindset, not a lack of skill, are what keeps most people stuck. Steph, do you want to give us 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, most coaches are marketers, not builders. So if you're looking for a business coach, please find someone who's built something and wants to actually coach you. Number 4 is that not everyone should scale. You need to figure out whether you want freedom or a full company or both. And I think you can have both, but that you have to be willing to work for a full company and freedom. And number 5 is that success is unsexy and repetitive.
All right, guys, if you got some value from that, don't forget to subscribe. It'd be also great if you could share it with a friend. We love growth, as you could probably imagine, so do us a favor.
And we'll see you next week for our 100th episode.
Woo!